I'm so excited. This is what I made for you this week, a skate park.
Now I'm going to show you how to make the skate park. There is the outside, there's the owner, and here is the inside, complete with the fluorescent lights. If you're low on ink, don't worry. I made a black and white version for you, or if you just like to color, you can color your own. And there's the owner. I always print it on cardstock. It's going to work much better. If you print it on the cheaper paper, it'll be fine for coloring sheets, but it's going to be pretty wobbly when you assemble it. I just bought this cutting mat a week ago, and I've already got an ink stain on it. I have no idea how that happened. But anyway, I did buy it for it to be used, not for it to be displayed, so I'm not sure why that was bothering me. First off, score for the fold lines, then cut. Okay, it's officially tutorial time. We can get that out of there. We don't need any more advertising. Well, I guess technically I'm not advertising because as of the date of this video, everything on my website is free and I'm not selling anything. So I guess it's not really advertising. Oops, here I'm talking, I'm over here yakking, and I didn't do this right. So what I like to do is when you have a score and a cut on the same line, I like to leave the ruler where it's at. And since this is a garage door and it opens from the bottom, we're gonna have a cut, score, cut, score, cut. So I like to put it on this side so that I can see where I'm supposed to cut and score. Usually I just do the score first all the way through. And then I do the cut lines. Oops. The video is what, 5 seconds in and I've already made a mistake? Wow. Okay, well remember, this is supposed to be for fun, not precision. So we'll cut here, and then we're gonna cut the bottom of the garage door because it's gonna open from the bottom to the top. So we'll cut along there, and we will score here at the top so it can open from the bottom to the top. And then let's cut the sides of the door. After that mistake, I thought I better make sure I hit record. Ooh, that won't be the first time I did that. Sitting here talking to myself, realizing that I haven't recorded a darn thing. All right. Okay. Now we're in the zone. Okay, so cut the flaps, or like I said last week, the fun flaps. Cut that out. So while I am doing this, I would like to know, did you create any art this week? And that question is out of curiosity, not out of trying to make you feel guilty if you didn't, because when I was deep in depression, and I need you to remind you, if you are deep in depression, it is not your fault. But when I was deep in depression, there is no way I could draw anything. You know, I could barely even take a shower, or if that, when I was sick. So I only asked that question out of curiosity and if you'd like to share what you drew. But like I say, when I was sick, all I could do was watch other people create. So whether you made something this week or watched somebody make something or thought about somebody making something, it's all good, it's all okay. As long as you're taking care of yourself. You know what's funny is I usually cut this part by hand, but I find it interesting that I started talking and I wasn't thinking and I did it with the knife. I don't know, obviously either way works. So this is what it should look like right now, is you've got your garage door, and since we score the door, it should be easy to fold. I like to fold it inward too. And then we fold the fun flap. It's fun flap folding time. All right, so we have the outside of the skate park. Now when we make this, we have a half pipe, and I had to draw this because Dave, my boyfriend, he always wanted to build a half pipe in his living room. He still kind of does. I told him he should, you know. We're adults, you can do what you want. There's a little graffiti in the back. Now this graffiti, this was done by the owner because she owns the building. Doing graffiti without permission is lame. And then there's where they can shred. I don't know the skateboarding terms, but anyway, there's like well, it's not an empty pool. It was specifically made for this skate park. But while we make this, I'm going to introduce you to Jewel. Well, that may not be her name, but she has jewels or diamonds in her eyes, and if you could see her cheeks, she has the dimples. These are my dimple dollies. I have dimples, that's why I named them dimple dollies. And she loves to spray paint art and skateboard. And I identify with her because of the art. And when I was a kid, I liked to skateboard. I just wasn't good at it. But just remember, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. And oftentimes, if you're not good at it, you can sometimes enjoy it more because your expectations are much lower. So just remember, you don't have to be good at everything. You should have fun with what you're doing. So first I'm going to do all the scoring first, then the cutting after that. But so this Jewel, the reason I don't know if that's her final name yet, I was also thinking of naming her Topaz because well, her hair is purple. So she's purple, I made the topaz purple, and yes, I realize that a topaz can come in many forms. The research I did said that in nature, a topaz is like virtually colorless, but then things can be done to it to make it a different color. So then I was thinking, well, her name could be Topaz, or it just could be Paz for short. So I wanted your opinion. What name do you like better? Do you like Jewel? Do you like Topaz? Do you like Paz? Or do you have a better idea? I want to hear it. I want you to vote for what you think her name should be. And then I was thinking too, you know, maybe her name doesn't have to be related to the shape of her dimples and the shape of the highlight in her eyes. You know, sometimes I tend to get so caught up in trying to make everything fit together that I just defeat the purpose of creativity. Okay, what I'm doing right now is sometimes I forget if I've scored something. So what you can do, you may not be able to see it, but what you can do is feel the back of the paper, and then that you'll be able to feel if you've scored it already. And in this case, I actually have scored everything. So I would like to hear, you know, and then I thought she owns a skate park, so maybe her name has nothing to do with the Jewel. Maybe it has to do with the skate park, but I don't know. Because see, every dimple dolly, just like every human, has more than one interest. Not only does she love to skate, she also likes to create spray paint art. The other thing I've realized in life is when I was younger, well, it was 6th grade when I bought a skateboard with my babysitting money, and I wasn't good. I kind of didn't care, but I also wouldn't call myself a skater because I wasn't good at it. But who says you have to be good at something to call yourself that? I certainly was not a professional skater, but if you get on a skateboard and you're skating and you're upright more than you are on your butt on the pavement, wouldn't that make you a skater? I don't know. There's always the people that are just like, no, you have to be able to do this, 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 and this before you can call yourself that. But I don't know. I guess that's like artists. So many people are afraid to call themselves artists because they think, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Well, do you create art? Well, then you're an artist. You don't have to make money off of your art to be called an artist, to call yourself an artist. And you also, other people don't have to like your art for you to be an artist. If you create art, you're an artist. And you should have fun creating art. Because really, in my opinion, the point of creating art is how you feel while you're doing it, not how you feel when it's done. Because reality is you're not always going to feel amazing when it's done. Well, for me anyway. Many times I'm horribly disappointed when something's done because it doesn't look like the perfect picture I had in my head. But that's when I said, okay, if the creation of the art, if my happiness depends on the outcome of how my art looks, well, that's not going to be a happy life, because to get good at something, you have to practice. And if practicing makes you depressed all the time because it didn't turn out the way you want, well, then you're never going to get better. So then it's a big vicious cycle. So that's why in trying to find my style, I decided, let's not necessarily go for something that I like the looks of it, but let's go for something that is fun while I create it. So that's why I've been really experimenting lately a lot with different types of lines. Like I've been using, vector art, not art, but vector lines. I've been using pixel lines and different things, and then also letting myself experiment where, like, for my videos, I've been making these little environments, but then I also let myself draw random things too, so that I don't lose the fun and the creativity. Okay, next is the folding part. This honestly is my favorite part. I have to laugh when I say honestly, as opposed to all the lies I've been telling you the last 10 minutes. I mean, why do we even say that? Well, honestly, like the rest of our life has been a total lie. But there's something about folding on a score. Oh, I love it. It just doesn't take much to make this girl happy. All right, double stick tape is your friend. Let's get some double stick tape. I honestly don't, oh my gosh, look, I said it again, I honestly. What makes a person say that? I don't know, do you say that? Am I the only one? Well, I know I'm not the only one, but do you say it? So I like double stick tape because you don't have to fold it over, but this is the next part to just basically make that side of a box. We'll get this all put together. And the reason Jewel Topaz, or Paz, whatever her name ends up being, wanted to start a skate park is she loves to skate. But when she started a skate park, she realized, wow, I'm not doing a whole lot of skating. I'm just doing managing and marketing. And all of a sudden she wasn't doing any skating at all. That's when she realized she needed a second revenue stream, because it's always a good idea to have more than one income stream. So that's when she started merch, and she also started selling her art. So then that helped jumpstart the profitability of her skate park. So then she was able to hire managers to do most of the work for her. And then she's the one who spray painted most of the art in here, and then she could skate every day. Now we have to tape this to this. So we'll put our double stick tape here. I believe the statistic for a business is it's typically not profitable until the 5th or 6th year or something like that. Now that's old school. I think I learned that statistic in the 90s. So that was before all the internet businesses. So I think that's like a traditional business. I also haven't researched it lately. Oh, you know what? You couldn't even see what I was doing right there. I was just lining up the bottom with this. So then you have that on the bottom, but that's okay because we're not looking at the bottom. So There it is. Now the problem is you do this and your flap will flop. We cannot have flopping flaps. So, no flapping flop, no flopping flaps here. We are going to cut a little strip paper. Actually, this would be smarter. Let's get the Velcro first. This is what I should be doing. So we're gonna get the Velcro first and put that on the paper. This way we can make sure that I'm making the paper wide enough for the Velcro. It's always better to work smarter, right? So then we fold it, cut off the extra at the top, and we have to tape this piece on. Using double stick tape, of course. Tape that to the top here. And then just kind of let it fall naturally. And there we go. Now we have a flopping flap preventer. Or, as my mom's cousin would say, a flopper stopper. She actually called something else that. But, well, I can say it on this channel. This channel's for adults. That's what she called her bra, her flopper stopper. It makes me laugh every time. She's like 80 years old and hilarious. All right, so here we have it. The skate park. Now we just have to cut out, what's her name? Well, we're going to score her first. I don't know why I say that word funny. Score. Actually, I say a lot of words funny. Although it probably didn't make you laugh. So if it didn't make you laugh, then it's probably not funny. So this is going to be the supportive stand she stands on, or that holds her up, I should say, so that she doesn't flop. So we can't have floppy business owners. So now we're cutting. Then the rest we're just going to cut out by hand. And I didn't really put a die line there for you to cut around. You know what, I don't like these scissors, they're too big. Let me grab another one. These are easier for me to maneuver. But I didn't put a die line here because I think it's just easier to cut outside. Like this, and then you can choose how big of a white outline you want. I guess you could always, like sometimes I'll make the white outline a little bigger at first, and then if I don't like it, I can always cut it smaller, but you can't go the other way. Then we can fold it, and now this will make sense what this does. I forgot to cut on that line. So you take this and you tape it like that. So we'll get our double stick tape now. I should buy stock and 3M Scotch tape. and actually, don't live far from them. I'm in Minneapolis, and they are in St. Paul, for anyone who cares. Okay, so what you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure that this is, my favorite word, perpendicular to her, because if it's not, she'll, my other favorite word, she'll flop. So that means that this is not perpendicular. Sometimes it's better to even have it a little slanted back. You see, like that, so then she'll be leaning back a little bit. There we go. Another thing I made for you is a coloring sheet of Jewel, Topaz, Paz, whatever her name ends up being. So you can color her. There she is with her spray paint bottle. And I love looking at fashion and different things, but I do not like wearing fashion. As you can tell, wearing the same shirt as last week. I wear this, well, I have 3 of these shirts, so anytime I wear it, it's clean. I do laundry every day. But anyway, so these are her, you know, I don't even know the fashion term for this, but these funky looking leg warmers that you see Decorique, and you see usually all those cool fashion photos from Japan. It's not just from Japan, but I thought that'd be kind of fun because she likes to skateboard barefoot because she's in cartoon land and nobody gets hurt in cartoon land. So you can do whatever you want. But I had a lot of fun drawing this and made a little bandolier, and it just, oh, that's right. How could I forget? So when I was in 6th grade, swatches were huge. Do you remember that? So that would have been 1986. And I saved up money forever to be able to buy myself a swatch. And then I remember the rich kids, like they'd have like 50 swatches up their arm because that was like the big cool thing. And I remember thinking, oh man, I wish I could afford 1,000,000 swatches. I'd have it all up my arm. And so that's actually part of what I used to do when I was a kid. When I couldn't afford something, I would just draw it, because when I feel obsessed with something, the way I'd get it out of my system is I would just draw it. Whatever I couldn't afford, I would draw. So, I mean, now I don't like jewelry. I have sensory issues, can't stand the feeling of it, but I love how it looks. So anyway, there's the coloring sheet, but I also have the same sheet or same coloring page, but it's gray lines, so that if you want to trace over it and make it look like you drew it, you know, that's sometimes satisfying to see a drawing where you can't actually see the coloring lines when you're done. And then this gray outline here is 8 inches by 10 inches. So if you're really happy with how you colored it, you can frame it. It's time for random art of the week. I think it's really important to let yourself draw whatever you want from time to time. And I was exploring an art style that is just loose, rough lines where you kind of go over the lines a second time, and I love that look, and I also love drawing it. And one of the reasons is, you probably noticed in my videos I have these shaky tremors. It's from the medication that I'm on, and many times I can't control that. So I thought, well, let's work with it. Let's do what we can control. And one of the things I can control is the style of art I draw. So that day I decided I'm going to draw some messy art with the squiggly lines that don't have to be precise, and this is what I came up with, and I had a blast. So it was really cool. Rather than getting frustrated that my hands were shaking, I just made art that worked with what I had to work with at the time, and I was super happy with it. So win-win. This is the printed piece. I thought, oh, that might make a fun sticker, so maybe I'll make a sticker out of it. But can you see how messy and sloppy and unprecise the lines are? That was my purpose because of the shakiness and tremors in my hand, and it was so fun. So I highly recommend trying it. And then also, when you do this, don't worry about perspective either, because obviously you can see, you know, the perspective of this watering can isn't quite right, but who cares? It's a cartoon, or not a cartoon, but an illustration. So I wanted to share this with you. So I made a free coloring sheet for you. There's one, and then of course I almost always like to make the light gray lines so that you can trace it if you want. Then I thought, you know, let's add some text to it. Happy spring, and I just traced a font. When I did this, just did that, you know, sloppy lines, traced the font. So happy spring, and then the gray lines if you want to trace. And I just remembered, I actually did this art. My toes say hello. Say hello to the toe. Okay, sorry. I digress. So I remembered I created this style art before. Let's go look for it here in my closet of past art. But am I going to be able to find it? But what I wanted to say that I was talking about before, like, don't let other people's opinions determine who and what you are. You know, so for instance, this may make you laugh, which is fine, but I actually do not like Van Gogh's art. I know, I may be weird, but no. Sorry, I was freaking out thinking I lost it. But I don't like Van Gogh's art. But does that mean that he wasn't an artist? No, of course not. And I don't like Jackson Pollock's art. But do you think Jackson Pollock cares that some woman he doesn't even know doesn't like his art? No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't care. So let's get these out of the way. Well, these were other things that I was experimenting with. Just drawing messy things. Yeah, I did that one when I was a little depressed. You can kind of tell the darkness in some of my previous paintings. But this is what I was looking for. Well, actually, let's go back. Let's go back to the light. Don't look at the light. But all that to say, just because somebody doesn't like your art doesn't mean you're not an artist. I mean, who cares? Who cares what other people think? As long as you're not hurting anybody, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Okay, so this, I didn't date it, so I have no idea when I did this. I don't know, like maybe 3 years ago. I wanted to experiment with those messy lines. I think I was probably having a bad tremor day or something. And I thought, well, sometimes when I draw something on really cheap paper, it's easier to draw. Because if you like take out a piece of really expensive paper, you're like, oh, I gotta make this look perfect, you know? So I thought, well, I'm just gonna use some cardboard that I tore off a box. And then all of a sudden, it seems like the fear goes away. And what did I use for this? Oh, I think it was just colored pencil. Yeah, it was just colored pencil. And I just drew super scribbly, messy. And it was a blast. And at first I was like, oh, this is ugly, it doesn't look good. And then I realized, okay, so I think it's ugly. That's just one opinion. When you create art, you don't have to like it, but you do have to create it to get better and to feel better. So it's funny because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually kind of like this. And the reason I probably hate it when I did it is because when I did it, I was really depressed. So remember, feelings are not facts. Just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you are a certain way. And then I found this at Michael's. It was stashed in a drawer somewhere. So I thought, yeah, I'll just put it on that. But I highly recommend trying this. It was very therapeutic for me. It was very freeing. I just absolutely loved it. So please try this if you can. I mean, if you're sick and you can't get out of bed, don't feel bad. Just put it in the back of your mind or file it in the garbage, you know, whatever's best for you. But it's so freeing to just do scribble messy stuff. It's time to, oh, no it's not. I have to give you an update. Update on my background wall is, I haven't gotten any further. I didn't even work on it at all this week. Okay, now it's time to get a sneak peek at the crafts next week. This is Editing Joy, and I just wanted to tell you, I realized the last 2 weeks and obviously next week are gonna be these little paper doll house creation type things, but that's not the only thing I create. It just happened to be these 3 items I made right in a row because I was inspired, but I'm gonna have all sorts of other things for you guys too. And if there's something you'd really love to see, let me know in the comments and I'll try to make it for you. Hey yo! Hey yo! Oh, no, I'm nauseous. Oh, baby.